Hey everybody, welcome back. It's a couple more days. Today's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I go Monday morning at 7 a.m. to this other doctor, and we'll see what he's gonna say. I've been sitting here thinking about life, and pain and suffering. And sometimes we get caught up in our own pain and suffering, and we don't really understand it. Let alone, sometimes we want to be compassionate to people and try to understand people's pain, but you just can't sometimes. And we think about the fight, and we think about what we're fighting, and sometimes, we think we're fighting the good fight, and we think that we're fighting sometimes to survive, sometimes to fit in somewhere, sometimes to belong to something, and I think back on the times of battling, and I think about, going into the ring and just who am I fighting, at this point. I pictured my dad sometimes. I pictured somebody that I was mad at, and and that anger towards that person. But the sad part is sometimes the other person took the blows that someone else that you were thinking of. And I think about all the times that I trained, and I think about the hatred that drove me to hit harder. And you think about life, and you think about the collide that between good and evil. And so I was, thinking about fighting, and who do I fight today. And you think about, when we put these gloves on, we're ready to go. We're ready to pound it out, and, to get ready, and get that stance going. And you just keep moving, and you keep looking. But the thing of it is, you just tuck that head down, tuck your shoulders up, and you get ready, and you look at their shoulders, and you glance up at their eyes and watch, because, sometimes they'll do that nudge and hit you with that, but still you watch the body, the body moves, wham, and as it comes, you just keep looking and looking and looking and looking. But the crazy thing about it is, we're always going to have Satan, and we're always going to have God, but God will be victorious. I put this stuff on not to, go into boxing or anything like that, but I wanted you to think about fighting. And I'm glad I found these things, and I'm glad that I was able to come out and put everything on. But, you just think of, let me get this tape. You think about, in general, sometimes what we go through, and sometimes when you put this stuff back on, you're like, Yeah, but what are we fighting? Are we fighting against someone else? Are we fighting against people? Are we fighting to get, acceptance? Are we fighting to get truth to people? It varies. It varies on what you're willing to go. I'm just exhausted. I can't do no more. And you think about where we're at in today's walk, and I say this because we have to let. I'm just kind of moving some of this stuff around. I mean, I got all this. Anybody watch the one? I got all my model and stuff sitting here, but I'm working on getting that upper room done, and can't wait to show it to you guys when it's finished. All praise be to God for that, But I got thinking the other night, and sometimes we look at missed calls, and we look at a text message that you might not have seen, and you think, or you read something, because I'm famous for it, not putting periods and question marks. First of all, even if I use the wrong quotation that goes in there, a question mark, a squiggly thing, or hyphens or whatever you want to call them, I would probably put the wrong dang thing in there, and even you'd probably still be confused. But I learned over the year time of putting a question to somebody, putting a question mark, because, I do know that, or putting a period. I was famous for putting a lot of ands into things, because I just wanted you to know, and I'm going on to something else, and I'm going on to something else. You fight against knowledge. Sometimes you fight against people, and you're fighting the wrong fight. And I don't know why things happen the way they're happening. I don't know why miscommunication sometimes comes across, and we can take it as one way. But my thing is I know how my brain thinks about things, and honestly, there's been a few times I've taken a text message maybe the wrong way, and I'd ask Darlene, hey, what's your thought on this? Or I'd ask somebody else, what's your thought on this? Or what does it mean when you have a lot of quotation marks? I think that's what they're called, the little line with the little dot, and you got a lot of them. Now here you go again. It's, according to what I'm told, it can mean excitement or it can mean anger. How the heck are you supposed to know then if it's excitement or anger? I mean, let's really think about this. It's like sending missed signals or missed messages. It's like receiving a Morse code and not being able to crack it. It's useless. It's like somebody sign language to you and you don't know how to read sign language or do sign language back. Useless. It's like going into a foreign country and knowing about 3 words of their language. Good luck. I mean, it's that useless. And that's about how useless it is sometimes how we react to things. We don't know. We don't know someone's heart, and we don't know someone's mind. A lot of people do take me wrong because, a lot of stuff that I've spoken on here, people, I'm just being real with you. I don't have nothing against my children. I love my children, and whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. And I love people. I just talked to a truck driver today that I worked with, went to orientation with, and he's still there at the company. He's having a little bit of problems, and I was telling him a little bit what I was going through, and he's like, wow, it's like unbelievable. And I was like, yeah, it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable that you get hurt on the 16th. The 20th was, I went home. I finished off a couple loads and went back to the DC, then went home, spent 2 days at home, and I really didn't do a whole lot. Well, I was not feeling as bad, but it was still hurting. And I'm thinking, okay, it's just sore. Maybe I pulled something. And then I get back in the truck, hooked to the trailer, and I told them what was going on. The safety manager that was there at the time was no longer there. He left. So then you sit there and you think, oh, geez, here we go. So anyways, make a long story short, like some of you know, I drove 2.5 hours out. And by the time I even got there, I was like a half hour, 40 minutes away. And I called them and I said, listen, you guys got to get me off these other loads. Get me back there. I don't even want to stop to pick up another trailer. By the time I got back and dropped an empty trailer from the store I went to, people, I could barely walk. I mean, it was hurting so bad. Time I got out of the emergency room and drove home, it was almost midnight, 12:30, somewhere in there. But I didn't want to stop at a rest area and sleep because, to be honest with you, I was afraid to. I was afraid of a lot of things came back to me that night, and like being homeless when it was cold, surviving. I remember being in a truck one night and I didn't sleep. They were supposed to send somebody immediately at this other trucking company I worked at, and I lost all heat in my truck, and I was literally scraping the windshield, and they told me to keep going. Well, you just get to New Jersey and New York, wherever I was going. I was in Ohio. I can't make it. I'm telling you right now, it is so bloody cold in here. It would have took me a day and a half, easy. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So they finally sent somebody. It took them 2 days to get to me. So I stayed awake 48 hours in that truck. There was nowhere to sit inside this raggedy truck stop I was in. I mean, literally, there was nowhere in there to sit. And I know what some of you said, hey man, I would have been sitting on the floor or something. I'm telling you, you couldn't. It was so ridiculous. And then when I finally get back to the hotel and drop the truck off, it wasn't too far from my house, but I stayed at the hotel and stuff. But to make a long story short, all that stuff starts coming in there. You know, I've personally believed if I would have went to sleep in that truck, I wouldn't be here today. You got to fight through things. You know, you have to let your body know what's going on. You know, you basically, it's fight or survive type thing. You know, you have to fight to survive, and that's how we are in this walk. But so let me dig into the word a little bit here and get going again on this part 3. You know, looking at these signs and looking at what's happening around us right now. You know, and again, I'm not coming against Donald Trump. I'm not coming against anybody that voted for him or anything like that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying Donald Trump's a bad person. I don't like some of the people around him. I don't like the AI. I don't like robots. I do like robots, but I don't like robots the way it's becoming. I'm looking at places that are becoming fully robotic into the warehouses and stuff, and that's taking jobs. That's why I'm against. All we're doing is putting people out of work. I don't care. I mean, Mr. Musk is a very intelligent man, and I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying that he's bad or good. I'm just saying enough with the garbage. If you really truly care about us as people, how is taking all of our jobs and making all this robotic stuff and these driving cars and all this stuff, and I really don't care if they make a semi that can drive to Texas and back, to California, from California all the way to New York and never hit a thing and back into a dock perfectly, and I really don't care, because I don't look at my jobs and go, man, we're going to be out of work when I start hearing about these robotic semi trucks and stuff. But then when I watch the events and them drive through that mock city and hitting everything and backing in everything, I'm going, yeah, they got a long ways to go. Well, you still got to have a driver in the truck, like. Really? Because how much are they going to pay you to sit there and do that? I mean, it's all. It all comes down to just ridiculous. I mean, I remember telling people about the self checkouts, and I told people, they were so happy. I said, "You're going to lose your jobs. You're going to see cashiers. They'll just start pulling out." Cash registers and putting more self-checkouts to where they don't need you. But they'll leave a couple open. And now they're thinking, you know, Target's thing is, I think it's 8 items or less, and Walmart's flowing into that now, 12 items or less. Could be 12 items at Target too, I don't know. But, sometimes people tell you that you're not good enough for something, or you're not qualified, and I'm thinking, wow, really? You know, down in Florida, I got a job working at Target doing the maintenance and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I was qualified, but I struggled a little bit with their system on the tablet. But once I started getting the hang of it, man, I mean, I did it pretty good. I mean, we had to do the drive-up service. We had to add stuff to it, and I did mine all by myself. I was going to other stores helping other people with theirs. I went to at least 2 different stores and helped them, but I did mine by myself. You know, I looked at my curb appeal. I did all this stuff and was writing up things that I was seeing and looking at high dusting that was, I mean, all this stuff. And then I come back up to Ohio and they had an opening. And the guy told me, I don't think you're management material. I don't think you're qualified enough to do it. All because he said, well, what did you like about your boss down in Florida? And I said, the one thing I liked about him, he worked with me on the tablet situation, but they upgraded into different tablets. Basically, it was a lot easier than having to go through all the screens and all the stuff we had to go through. And that's how I said, I'm glad he was patient with me. He was a very nice guy, you know, and did everything he could to help me through the transition and people come out and stuff like that. Because, you know, fire safety and doing the inspections. Oh man, I flew through that stuff. But the problem was is it's having to get on there and shutting it down so they didn't send the fire department. Man, that was like second nature to me. I'm telling you all this because we fight sometimes about what people say about us. And I'm just sitting there thinking, when he told me that, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And at first I was kind of mad. And then I went, you know what? It's not where Jesus wants me. And I told him, he said, well, maybe if I said, don't bother. You know, I said, I accept your opinion. I believe you're wrong. And you know, when it comes to maintenance, I've done it for years. You know, I've built walls and built closets and drywalled stuff in. I'm not a good finisher, but I could do it. It's going to take me longer than the common Joe, that's for sure, that does it every day. It's not my strong point. I'll be the first to admit it. I don't want to screw up something, and I sure don't want to waste people's product. I don't want to waste God's time. And in this break that I've had, I kind of put it into boxing terms since we're talking about fighting and everything. I just kind of feel like God just reached down and gave me a good left hand and said, wake up, man. Wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to look at what I've been trying to show you. Look at what my son's been leading you into doing. And so I'm like, all right, you got my attention. What do you want me to do? So I do apologize for getting back in this. I know I squeezed a couple videos in between there, and I am trying to stay focused, people. I truly am. It's hard. I mean, it is extremely hard to stay focused on even doing this, you know, and that's why I like the free flow of things on the video as I've been doing. Just I feel bad for Darlene. I mean, I feel like sometimes I just keep repeating myself on things, and she's not getting frustrated that I know of. She might be deep inside sometimes. I mean, I couldn't blame her if she was. I mean, she didn't sign up for none of this. I mean, she signed up to have a husband that was able to do the things I was doing. And then you got to take on all this. And she told me yesterday, she says, you would do it for me. I would. I mean, there ain't a doubt in my mind. I mean, I would do everything I possibly could for. A couple of days ago, I was walking from the breezeway. It's just a one step to come. You step up on one step, you come up on a platform, and there's our door. And I come walking up and tripped something. I don't know. I just know I went down, hit my head on the side of the door, and I was scared. And I was crying. When I seen her there, she was trying everything to just get me up, people. I mean, I felt helpless. I felt bad for her trying to lift my butt up off that ground and her not knowing what to do, you know. And I can imagine her going, I can't lift him. There's no way. So first thing I thought of going inside and get the cane. When she brought it out, I was able to put enough down, and she was able to get a hold of me enough to where I could press down and got myself upright. And for once I felt done. You know, it was it's kind of like I said something to her the other night when she was at her daughter's, well, both of her daughters and her granddaughter, and I just kept throwing the white towel in, and she thought, like, oh my, immediately, you know, and we got to be careful how we say stuff, because I had no idea that she thought I was, you know, because she thought, oh my God, you know, she knows about my suicides and all that stuff. You know, is he so depressed? Am I going to go home and he's going to be dead? And, you know, I never in a million years meant to put that in her brain. You know, but my thing was throw the white towel in. I was done for the day. You know, I'm throwing the white towel in. You know, it's a boxing term, and some of you may already knew that. You know, like, oh yeah, throw the white towel and you're done. I mean, that's it. My day was done, and I told her I was just gonna go to bed. But you know, I sit and think about the oldest son never showed up and never got back a hold of me. Just as they say, ghost you. And I had to fight the demons. I had to put the gloves back on and fight the fight. And I started thinking about all the stuff my youngest daughter just said to me. My oldest daughter doesn't. Even my son with the nonsense of there and the stuff that his in-laws post and say, and I'm thinking, you got a lot of freaking nerves to post anything about God throwing, when God takes garbage out of your life, don't go dumpster diving. You have a lot of nerves to even post anything about God. It's like standing in a glass house and throwing rocks at yourself. It's like looking in a mirror and throwing a rock at yourself. You might as well do that, because how dare people judge people? It's like, I can see why the whole family's like that. Honestly, you ever hear the saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree? Am I being judgmental? No, people, it says so in the Bible. Look at their fruits. Look at the fruits that they're providing. It says in Revelation, I believe, or is it Book of Genesis? It talks about the 12 fruits. And I think about the 12 fruits on the tree of life. You think about the 12 fruits, and you think about each month, then there would be a different fruit growing on that tree. And you think about how Satan tiptoed in there, slithered, or, obviously walked like some kind of reptile thing, because, his punishment was that his legs would be gone and he would slither on his belly. The serpent, basically. But, I think about the demonic entities, the demons. I think about the higher ups and what transforms in between all this, and I think about each step that we take. Are we stepping on God's pathway? What I mean by this is, when we're born, God molds and sculpts us in our mother's womb. The Bible says so. And I think about birth. When they first push that baby out, the mothers, and all of them, they're not, the mother especially, is still and wait patiently. Sometimes, what's wrong with my baby? How come they wait for the cry. And I think about them clearing all the stuff around their mouths and nose and doing all that, in that split moment when God just gives you breath. You think about this, and you could say, well, Nelson, I don't really know. That's kind of stretching. Really, go look at what he did with Adam in the beginning in Genesis. Go look. It's in Genesis. Go look when he formed man out of dirt. Go look when he took a rib from Adam to make Eve. Go read that, and you tell me I'm far stretching anything, because I'm not. The Bible speaks it. And I believe when he made our pathway, he knows exactly where we are today, whether we're in the evil or where we're at. He already knew what we were going to do. See, that pathway sometimes branches off, and it goes into a direction where it was never supposed to go. You may say, well, why does God allow it? Because does not the Bible say that God can open and close doors that no man or beast can? So then why isn't it closed? Why is it open? Because your free will, your flesh, you fight, but you don't fight the good fight to stop the things coming into your life. Going back to what I was saying a little bit ago, you think about, sometimes I've always said, man, one day I'm going to be wrong about something, or I might not have lived something that somebody else comes up with, and I'm just curious to see, the outcome of it. But the thing of it is, you look at today, and I told Darlene a long time ago when we first got together, like a gazillion years ago. And it's actually, this year's going on 14 years of marriage, 15 years together. And it just seems so fast. It just seems like yesterday. You know, uh, I just ask God to bless her for, I guess, more or less for putting up with me all these years, and just believing what she feels inside. You know, for once, it was nice to have someone not. Well, there was a couple times that we kind of had a little spiff because I was like, I'm tired of being falsely accused of stuff. Because a message comes on Messenger or something from somebody on YouTube, and I have nothing to hide. And it's funny, God made me strong and a fighter, but now it's like He's taking me back and stripping that fight out of me. And it's scary. It's scary when you got to rely on God and you can't rely on trying to fix it yourself. And I'm fighting my flesh right now, and I'm fighting that fight. And I told her the other day, I said, see, if you ever doubt what I said, if you wasn't here right now, I'd be doing this alone. But, or you could flip it the other way and go, my kids would be flocking over here not because of me, because of money. Anytime I really had any long communication with any of my kids, because they want money. Like, I don't have feelings, like, I just feel like a freaking welcome mat, but all my life, that's kind of what they probably see me as. It's just a checkbook. I remember when a guy told me, man, it's my ex-wife only stayed there because you're a checkbook to her. And I'm thinking in my head, I don't really care, because my thing was, I got tired of going in and out of courts, paying child support, doing all this crazy stuff. It's like, I'm the fault. I am. I can't even blame her. I got to blame myself. All them years, I just blamed her for the business, using all, spending the money and, doing the crazy stuff that she did sometimes. But, I can't even blame her, man. I got to blame myself. And it took me a while to realize, yeah, I didn't deserve it. I worked hard. It's like, but it's my fault. It was my fault for putting up with it. It's my fault for allowing them kids to see it. I look at it today and go, why did I do it? But then I look at it and go, I would have been denying myself. Today I would have been regretting it. And, to have my youngest daughter come against me with my dad, she has no clue. No clue. I didn't have to be there for my dad at the end. I didn't have to be there for my mom. I don't have to really be there for them. You're grown up. You went on your pathway. You went and did what you did. It's sad that people believe what they want to believe, but hey, God's in control. I mean, when you start giving God your flesh, and your spirit, and your bones, and your heart, and your mind, and you just keep giving Him that, and follow that pathway, you'll make it. You'll make it. I don't know where God's leading me tomorrow, but today's here. And I sat there and was thinking earlier, going, man, I got a lot of stuff. And you just sort through stuff and just But for once, I don't have to struggle to fix something because I have the right stuff to fix it. And God is the right way, the only way that I can fix anything. And to live each day is to glorify His Son. And glorifying Him glorifies the Father. I glorify the Father, I glorify Him. You know, March 3rd, I'm turning 53 years old. And I've been on a journey with Jesus for a while. You know, like I said, just got rebaptized. And I just wanted to make sure I had it right. You know, I'm still asking Jesus to protect my thoughts and my heart, my mind, let it stay hooked together. Let me love like God through my heart as He loved us because He sent Jesus, and let me think in the thoughts that Jesus have spoken, the red words in the Bible. And if I keep them two bind together and I keep looking upwards and I keep pushing through it to get to heaven, well, how can you sin? You know, and sometimes you got to accept what today brings. And that's where I'm at in life. You know, I'm okay. You know, for once in my life, I'm okay. You know, that each day that goes on and it gets to the point that people start to fade. It's funny. I don't even know how to put it into words, but they just it's like waving goodbye to a friend out of school that you never see again. You know, that type of stuff. And because people are so judgmental and stuff in their head. I don't know what that is. But it's up to you. It's up to you how you look at life. And how you live each day, you know. If you go home, is it the same routine? People on their phones, you know, you eat, wash some dishes up, and maybe go in there and watch TV, maybe get a shower, or whatever you do. It's the same pattern over and over and over. You know, how many of you are suffering through going, man, you know, I never thought marriage was going to be like this. I never thought my kids growing up was going to be like this. And then you get the ones that have that good family, you know, that good family life and stuff. And you know, I think about always wanting a big family. And, you know, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice myself anymore for it. And I wasn't willing to accept people's words anymore, and I wasn't willing to hear that I'm not good enough, or I'm a monster, or you know, whatever their thoughts were. You know, you got to fight through that, because I mean, you know how many times I've sat there and said to people, man, they want to see a monster. Oh, I'll show them a monster. You know, I'll show them the beast, you know, that dwells upon the outsides in dark places that you don't see. And then my thoughts just got worse and worse and worse, you know, and you're just thinking. And I remember looking in the mirror one day at a truck stop. I just got to taking a shower, and I remember looking in the mirror, and I just kind of looked up. And I was like, no. Unfortunately, they're not worth it. And when I say unfortunately, because it's kind of sad to say this about your own family and your kids. They're not worth it. They're not worth my soul in hell. You gotta fight. You gotta fight to get where you're at. You got to fight to stay out of that dark areas that people want to drag you in, you know. And I think about so many times that doing these videos, and I think about talking about my life and things that goes on, and even people disagreeing with me, take your little YouTube videos and do whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to bring the truth. What truth are you going to bring against me? What truth? Please do it. Because anybody who listens to you is the same people you are like. And I really don't have a space in my life for people like that anymore. Or their opinion of what they believe is right or wrong. That is the part of life where you go, Jesus is enough. Jesus is enough. I think about, where I sit right now and do these videos, and just looking around and going, and what seems nonsense to somebody else makes me happy. I was sad when the final shelf got done, because I wasn't done with the bins, I wasn't done going there and looking around. And I even told myself, I got a little tiny space left, and I just want to go look at vintage. I know God's going to give me something vintage, something that's it started off with the vintage, and I know it's going to end with it. So I'm hoping at least get one more trip in and go on. I've been thinking about different things in life and doing different videos, and doing the kids video. Don't know if kids are ever going to see them or not, but I'm posting them on the other channel and this channel too. So like I said, you can't comment on the children's, but I kind of would wish somebody would give me some kind of feedback, whether it's crappy or not. But I watched it like yesterday, and it was pretty funny. I mean, I was laughing a couple spots in myself, but I mean, I pretty much laugh at myself all the time. So people, I'm not sad. I mean, I just want to clear that up. I'm not sad. I'm not depressed. I'm not suicidal. I'm in a lot of pain. I mean, this is, I don't know, you go from the 16th to the 16th. So that's January. It's 30 days. You go 16th of that to February 16th. That's 2 months. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. I think today's is 22. So, that's 66 days of waiting on them to. I mean, I had to wait 3 weeks just before they'd okay an MRI. I mean, this isn't fair. I mean, it truly isn't. I don't understand how somebody can justify putting somebody through this kind of pain. And then you go in there and it's like, I'm telling these people I'm in pain beyond that. And the last thing I want to do is sound like a pill popper, because, I mean, you can come on here and clearly, I refuse. I refuse to take any kind of opiates or anything that's going to, no, I don't even care. I'd rather sit like this. But it's the fact that, how do they justify something? There's got to be something you can take that's not addictive. But Darlene made a good point. She says, if your body needs it, it'll use it. You won't get addicted. And I trust her. I just can't do this pain no more. I mean, 2 more days, I'll get through it. By the help of God, anyways, and prayers. I'm sad, man. I mean, I'm sad with that because I'm tired of this pain. I mean, it's like, I don't know how many times you sit in the ring and you fight, and pain just doesn't exist. but it exists now, and it's horrible. Even afterwards, healing. You know, I've said it, and I'll say it 1,000 times. I never want to fight because I had to heal. What in the world is that? Man, if that's a spider, we're going to have problems. I can't stand spiders. When I was growing up, I didn't care. I mean, I'd literally go up and grab a spider and hold it and take it outside and throw it outside. I mean, I didn't like tarantulas, though. I know somebody had a tarantula. It got on me with it's all fuzzy and like, ugh. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna wrap this up. And sorry I didn't get to the part 3 to this, but this must have been what God wanted. You know, hopefully some of you are struggling with what's going on in your life right now, and I'm just telling you, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and just lift it. Look at that cross and think of Jesus on the cross, and just lay it at his feet. You know, whatever you're going through right now, just lay it at his feet, because sometimes we got to be humble to understand God. We got to let God be God and Jesus work through our lives. And unfortunately, it's Jesus Take the Wheel song comes to mind right now. And, you know, I've had 3 people now already tell me, man, I wouldn't be doing that. The driver I just talked to today, he says, I wouldn't be doing that. I would, I'd get me a lawyer. I'd be talking to a lawyer like right now and finding out, you know, because he says even for what your wife's going through isn't even fair, that they're putting you guys through this kind of stuff. And I don't know what to do. For once, I just go, I'll know Monday, I guess, because they scheduled me Tuesday at 7 o'clock in the morning for therapy. And I know I really don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it because I don't want to go through the pain. And I think I've suffered enough through this pain. And, you know, sometimes when you reach back out to someone and you're just like, man, I just want to hear this person's voice, you know, just to connect somehow, and it doesn't happen. And I just had to, God, it's all you. But tomorrow's another day. And today it's 12:33 now. Pretty hungry. Been trying to lose weight. Just gotta keep fighting, people. Just keep fighting, whatever, you know. And I'm telling you all this just so you know. Go, wow, you know, I'm not the only one. You know, we're all. It's time to get back on the roller coaster and pull that bar down and latch it and make sure we're nice, tight. We got the seatbelt on, and let's go. Let's go. So when I come back and start, we're going to start in 2 Thessalonians, and I got a lot to undo for you, and keep getting back to showing you the signs and what's coming. So I'm excited for it. You know, people want to know what the signs of the Antichrist. Well, you're about to find out. And I'm not disappointed by not getting it done today. I'm not disappointed at all, because whatever this video needed to be today, hopefully it's going to help somebody. And by all means, people, if you know somebody that's struggling with something and this video falls into that category with you, going, yeah, they probably should hear this. Share it, give the like, and let's keep moving. Let's do God's will. Doing God's will isn't sitting inside of a church building. Doing God's will is going out there and doing exactly what we're doing right now. Exactly what I'm doing. I'm not afraid to talk about today's times and what's going on and the confusion and all this gay stuff and everything that's going on and what's going on in the schools and everything else. Somebody's got to do it, because everybody's sitting back and your children are suffering through this, and you should be the one very well if your kids are going through this stuff in school. It's time to put God back into schools. It's time to put God back in our lives and at the head of that table. It's time to be following them footprints in Jesus that he's laid down. I don't want to look back and see the footprints in the sand and Jesus scare me. He's done enough. It's time for me to stand up and carry myself. It's time for me to put Jesus on my back in the backpack, and like Luke Skywalker did with Yoda in the training. Hey, let's do it. God's made me strong in that area, and like I said, these videos aren't for everybody, and we'll see where they end up. We'll see what God has in store tomorrow, if tomorrow comes. If not, are you ready? If not, ask him right now. Let's do it together. Some of you may not. You may be at midnight one night or 1 o'clock in the morning watching these videos going, man, I feel like I'm going to kill myself. Well, hell awaits you. If you're depressed because something's depressing you. There's nothing in this world worth taking your life for. A person, a job, what people say about you, nothing. Trust me. Trust me on this one. It will get better. You got to let Jesus do it. So if you don't know Jesus as your personal Savior, I just ask you to just sit right now and just think, Jesus, I'm a sinner. I don't know what to do. I'm lost. I'm confused. And if you're truly there, help me. Help change my life today, Jesus. I surrender my life to you, and I surrender all my sins, and I want you to wash me clean of these things, and I want to be made new. I want to learn you. I want to grow in you, and I want you to grow in with me. Please accept me. You can say it however you want. He's listening. He's going to change you. You're going to have to do some work with it too. You're going to have to let your flesh go and give it to him. But ask him to help you with it. Ask him to help get this nonsense out of your life. Ask him to get these scary movies out of your life. Hell, you're scared enough. You don't need to watch some other nonsense. Demons and all these things. They're coming short enough. You can believe it. I mean, they're starting to manifest themselves more and more. You don't need to watch a movie on it. You don't need to listen to Highway to Hell. You don't need to listen to Party All Night and Sleep All Day, because that's depression, because the devil don't want you to see the light. You ever think about the songs? I want to party all night and sleep all day because the light is scary to demons. The power of it. They don't like it. Think about the songs you listen to. Think about why you're depressed. You ever notice when you break up with somebody, you know, especially girls, even some guys, they do it, but they don't want to admit it. But, you put on these love songs, these sad breakup songs, and you just cry and cry and cry, and you stay depressed for months listening to this garbage. Throw it out. You don't need Miss Swift songs about breakups. Well, hell, you're already going through it. You don't need it. You don't need somebody to sing you a song on it, because you could probably sing your own song. But let me tell you right now, when you dust off your boots and get back up and dust yourself off, call on Jesus. He'll heal you. I can guarantee it. He can heal a guy like me. He can heal you. So, it's your choice. Because if you reach out to the hand that's reaching to you, not mine, Jesus, and when he interlocks that hand with yours, it's an unbreakable bond. You may try to let go, but he won't. I guarantee it. He didn't let go of me. Here I am today telling you, Jesus is real. Heaven is real. So is hell. On that note, God bless you. Love you. See you soon.